colonizer and an activist. But I think that book is quite rare. I've tried to order it before and couldn't find it, but yeah, there are stories out there, and as we're in these waters and interested in the kind of the archive that exists down in the ocean, it's always nice to be aware of the cultures that have been here for 30,000 years. Was when the first Austronesian people migrated to this area. So cultures have been evolving for a really, really, really long time. And it's only in the last 400 years that colonization and war has impacted this area. So there's quite a lot to think about and learn from these islands beyond. Also the detailed and amazing work that's happening aboard the ship as well. Yeah, so a few questions are coming in about how the islands recovered from the war. So that was a long ongoing process. Oh. Yeah, that was a long and still ongoing process in many respects. As Jacob mentioned earlier, there are still unexported ordinances on the land, and impacts are certainly still present. But following the war, there was kind of an awareness of, there was an increased awareness essentially of the immense inequalities between the Solomon Islanders and the forces that were in the region, so the Allied and Axis powers, as well as the British Protectorate. So I think that kind of highlighted the inequalities and sparked this Messina Ruru movement that I mentioned earlier, this grassroots political movement, cultural movement led by the indigenous Solomon Islanders to demand independence. But yeah, just after the war, there was sort of a bit of a rise up of reckoning with, first of all, the tremendous loss of life that happened in this area. So I think that took a little bit of time, and then forming connections across groups from different islands, and the Malaita province and area. That's where a lot of these sort of self-governance movements began, and it took time. It took from the formation of that until independence. That period kind of started right after the war, and it was successful as I mentioned in 1978, but there was still tensions. There's a period even known as the tensions locally that resulted in many ways from all of the outside disturbances and violence that came with colonialism and the the tremendous loss of life during the war. So there was kind of some civil unrest that happened, and there was both, I believe, an Australian-led and New Zealand-led partnership with the Solomon Islands government to help bring back peace locally, and that settled out in the early 2000s and into current day. There's some differences in opinions of alliances with different nations politically, but that tends to be the case in most places around the world. That of course there's differences, but definitely it's an ongoing process, and I think what really helps with moving past what's happened in World War II in this area is not only telling the stories from the local perspective, but ensuring that that waste or dangerous parts of these ordinances people know where they are, and identifying them and mapping those out was an important part of making sure that the land was safe, and after that, recentering the indigenous and cultural practices and traditions. So, yeah. Thanks everyone for the questions. Still about an hour and a half away to our next wreck, the Canberra, so feel free to write in. So yeah, looking ahead, the Canberra will be the last wreck survey of this particular dive, but then we'll do an ROV recovery, and just a few hours later, 4 or 5 hours later, we'll be back in the water, and we'll have a plan for several other wreck sites to visit in tandem in this sort of similar mode of diving and then towing to the next site and diving on the next site. So,
how many hours total would this dive have been by the end there?
Let me see where we're at right now. So,
It'll wrap up in roughly just under 12 hours?
so right now we're at 45 hours, 45.5 hours time in the water, and we'll have another, let's see, 10 hours. So I guess, yeah, a little under 60 hours will be the total dive time of this particular dive.
Not too shabby.
Not too bad, yeah. We certainly might have a longer dive.
I know that's the intention.
Coming up, so yeah. Our ROVs typically can be in the water for as long as we'd like. I think from what our operator shared earlier, around 200 hours would be sort of when we'd want to bring them up just to sort of check on how they're doing. But nothing stopping us from staying in the water and towing between sites, which in this context and this type of mission makes a lot of sense and saves us time from recovering the vehicles and then diving on a site that's not too far away. So, and in the meantime, our uncrewed surface vessel Drix, operated from shore, is mapping throughout the sound and also looking for potentially unknown and unidentified wrecks or partial wrecks, just like the one that we had on our previous watch, where we found a bow that hadn't been mapped, hadn't been visited before, that we believe is the USS New Orleans bow. So we're kind of able to work in tandem with our Drix team, as well as the shipboard team, as well as another team on a shallow water vessel that's doing some shallow water mapping as well. So a lot of different people are involved with this mission and working at different scales and in different areas in tandem and in communication with each other, in addition to our approximately 200 experts ashore who are regularly tuning into our expert archaeologists and scientists chat with very helpful information as we try to understand unknown wrecks or understand specific parts of wrecks that we've visited before. All right, so we have about one more hour to go until we arrive at the Canberra.
Is the Canberra the final target for this dive, or is there another
Yeah, that's right.
vessel after it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so that'll be the last. So the Canberra is a verified site. We definitely know it's there. We'll be there in about an hour. Then we'll start our NORBIT survey, which will take a few hours, and then descend down to the wreck and do a comprehensive visual survey. Once we finish that up and we're happy, we'll bring up the vehicles, and a few hours later, about five or so hours later, we'll launch the vehicles again and continue with a long dive survey of several wrecks. I think we're still working out exactly which wrecks and which order we'll take on for the next dive, but we still have another couple of weeks to go, so there's a lot more diving ahead of us and several more wrecks ahead of us. Just getting started, basically.
Yeah, I think we have about 16 more days at sea.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, yeah, we've another 2+ weeks since all of our dive sites are so close together, and since we're really close to Honiara, to the port city that we're heading back to, it allows us to spend pretty much the entire cruise doing operational work. Sometimes when we're doing an expedition that is at a site that's a little bit farther from a port or farther from an island, it takes us time to get there and transit, and then it takes us time to transit from there to either the original port or a new port. So it's nice that this entire cruise is really dedicated to diving, since everything is so localized. Jacob, what highlights should people be looking out for? You're probably busy editing.
Yeah, coming out in the near future, we have hopefully the next day or two, a highlight video of the USS Vincent's, the first wreck we visited, followed by, actually I think the second one would be the partial bow that we found this morning. They're working to get confirmation of what that was, but final confirmation, but there should be a highlight video coming out about that one about midweek, in, next 3 or 4 days. After that, we'll be working through every dive or every site that we visited. Ideally, we'll have a highlight video coming out just about every day. Oh, not every day, for every wreck that we see.
Yeah.
Usually delayed by a couple of days, just to allow time for editing and the review through the proper channels. Just a couple of different groups that want input and to make sure that we're treating these sites with the proper respect. But yeah, every site that we're visiting will have um, the best moments kind of compressed into a anywhere between 7 to 15 20-minute video depending on the extent of what we see there.
Awesome. Nice. Yeah, so in addition to watching live and scrolling back on YouTube to see what we've done in the last several hours, there will be this archive of all of these videos that Jacob's putting together. And sometime down the line in the future, some of the more immersive and 3D work that's being done will be shared. Hiroshi, I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about how you got into archaeology and maritime archaeology, and for anybody out there who's interested in pursuing that field, like what kind of recommendations could you give to viewers out there who are interested in that?
Yeah, so basically, even we say maritime archaeology or underwater archaeology, it's just archaeologists, who specialize it for, ocean environment or underwater environment. So fundamental study or principle is archaeology. So we have to study first, how to dig, uh, archaeological site on the terrestrial, and we kind of adapt that those system of recording a process of excavation or site to the underwater environment. Yeah, that is a maritime archaeology. So first, especially undergrad student, probably better to just study archaeology and then participate some field school, and then if they like it, maybe do master for underwater archaeology, or yeah. And then to be underwater archaeology or maritime archaeology, you don't need to dive, but it's nice to have a skill set to dive. Yeah. And yeah.
Probably has some really cool opportunities if you're able to dive as a marine
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
archaeologist.
yeah. It's always nice to actually can go to the site, and then yeah, because like let's say now we do deep ocean, like actually you can see in the in through your eye, it's something totally different. Even recording, or I mean, archaeology in general is kind of systematically how to record, and then it's like I said, it's like you're a detective,
Yeah.
um, you go to some site. Let's say this is a battlefield site, and then you collect the data on the battlefield. Let's say even if let's say terrestrial site. Let's say we have some specific archaeology called battlefield archaeology or conflict archaeology. Let's say in the terrestrial site. Let's say I don't remember. I think it's a civil war or something. For example, if you go to some civil war era site, and if you go with metal detective, actually you can scan where's a bullet left, so you can see the distribution of those bullet. So you can kind of reconstruct how they fire each other.
That's cool.
Yeah, yeah. Or sometimes you can find human remain in the battlefield. So that is kind of how to record, and then how you can guess how to what happened in the past. And so underwater archaeology is fundamentally the same thing, but underwater, and yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. I'd love to go metal detecting. It looks super cool.
Yeah. Actually, you can dive with metal detector, and then I think actually the one scholar we have, John Kimura, I think he dived with metal detector to find aircraft in the shallow water. So yeah, those kind of impossible too. Yeah.
Did you yourself start off doing scuba diving
Oh,
surveys, or?
yeah, I did. Actually, I have certificate, scientific diver. So
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
I can dive and I can record. Actually, I help some marine biology research, yeah, in the Chuk Lagoon. Yeah. It's nice to have yeah, not just for archaeology, but also nice to have a diving
Yeah.
certificate or scientific diver. But it's one tricky thing is you can dive, like let's say um, you are a leisure diver, like a PADI or something. Doesn't mean you can record or do something in the underwater while you're diving. So it's like let's say you go sightseeing and then you try to record those sight is totally different skill skill and mindset. So yeah, if you're a good diver, doesn't mean you can be a good scientific diver or yeah. So that is something you have to overcome. Yeah, but basically if you dive more, probably you will get used to underwater, and then you're confident what to do in the
Nice.
while you diving. So yeah.
So what do you prefer doing? Scuba surveys, or using remotely operated vehicles, or other techniques to do maritime archaeology?
Well, I would say diving itself is a very exhausting,
Yeah.
and then also you have a limited time underwater, especially if you go deeper, because water pressure, you can stay
Right.
shorter and shorter. So this just diving, and then yeah itself is I would say so much work, but yeah, like those remote sensing technology might be changing how the maritime archaeologists or underwater archaeologists how they work. Yeah, technology can change, and then yeah, and then I would say personally yeah, I don't enjoy diving, to be honest. So yeah, if I can sit and then watch ROV doing archaeological recording, yeah, I prefer to do that. But yeah,
Yeah. I thought, yeah, diving is a lot of fun, but I can see how if you're doing it for an investigation, there's
yeah,
a lot of limitations, and you're really trying to get your work done while uh, literally being under pressure and having limited time and needing to
yeah.
come back up for air, and yeah.
And yeah, even the diving, let's say, once you master scuba diver, actually there's a more advanced diving called the tech diving, mixed gas diving. So you have to bring, um, several different type of, tanks with you, gas tanks with you, like oxygen or
Mhm.
nitrogen, or more advanced is uh, CCR, so closed rebreather circuit. Uh, yeah, so it's something we call rebreather. So it's like a pretty much like a astronauts, It's like you breathe and then collect, exhaust, and then put the oxygen back to you, and then
Yeah,
you breathe, and then
the rebreather.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That always. I'm I'm a rescue diver, and I've only done recreational dives, but hearing about tech dives has always kind of spooked me.
Yeah,
I know people kind of squeeze into caves and take their tanks off, and
yeah. So sometimes we joke about if you want to be underwater, actually, you have to be a little bit crazy, Yeah,
I guess it just depends on how deep you're working. 'Cause
yeah, yeah. Well, it's like because there's always risk, if you dive. So you have to how much you can tolerate those
right,
risks. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
yeah,
How much you willing to dive for, archaeological, finding. Yeah,
yeah. That's really interesting. Yeah, for pretty much every kind of role on the ship, um, to get involved in this kind of work, you kind of start with the fundamentals. So before specializing in maritime archaeology or a specific aspect of studying the marine environment, you sort of start off with those basics. So in my case, my background is in geology first. That's what I studied in undergrad, and then I went on to study marine geology and geophysics, and then specialized even more. And it's helpful to get that sort of background to start. And if you're an engineer, it's similar, getting a background in whatever type of engineering you're interested in, and then getting more and more specialized into how you want to apply that knowledge to specific problems and settings. Same with video work, I'm sure. Getting the basics.
Yeah. Um, some of the video systems aboard Nautilus are incredibly specialized um, for the work that we do. There's some that transfer over. I mean, primarily I work in normal video editing for OET and not live production like this. But um, yeah, there's a degree of familiarity you get with the work that you do where 3.5 close to 4 years of working for OET and producing this type of content. I have a pretty clear understanding of what goes into a highlight video, and I can almost see the highlight videos as we're doing dives. I know how I'm going to make the edits already. I know what moments to include, what moments I think might not make the final cut, and so it's probably the same way with everyone. Where as we're doing this, we already know how it's going to affect the other parts of our work here.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So everyone in the van is definitely an integral part. We also have um, the even more integral part of the ship is all of the ship's maritime and expert crew, um, who not only operate the vessel but maintain the vessel and get us to where we need to be. Um, and then we also have behind the scenes our data engineers, sometimes in the scenes like Tim is right now, who's serving multiple roles. And many, many others ashore that help uh, with logistics and operations and all sorts of planning and things like that. So
Research vessel always seems like a thing. You're like, oh yeah, it's not too bad. We'll just get in a boat and go to the place. And then as you start adding more and more pieces that you need to make it work, suddenly it's like you're running an entire city offshore.
totally, yeah.
Yeah, I've got mad respect for people who work in supply logistics. Like, There's a lot. they gotta figure out.
Our travel team, our operations manager, Samantha Wishnack, they are absolute rock stars in somehow making all of this work. Just coordinating everyone's travel to the Solomon Islands alone from
Yeah.
all over the world, routing through several different countries, getting the proper permits and visas, and contacting the right authorities so that everyone was able to arrive here for the most part on time, even within a 48-hour window, is insane.
It really takes a lot. Yeah, definitely.
And that's not counting the work of Daniel and Noel getting the scientific permits, working with the local government, student in the local authorities, and our partners to plan these expeditions and figure out the priorities for everyone involved to actually make an expedition plan that appeases everyone. It's months and months and months of work for these couple weeks at sea.
Yeah, sometimes years. And
Years.
especially the way that the Nautilus program works, being kind of like an open source, open access and collaborative model, means that there are these sort of open calls for not just participation but input on what priorities the broader community might have, and that's really kind of anybody that has either an interest or expertise in this type of work can be part of those really like pre-planning meetings to share what their priorities might be in a specific region. And then those get distilled down into a collection of sort of synthesized and selected priorities and blended with the priorities of our own, and then that's how a lot of these expeditions sort of start off in the really, really early stages, and then partnerships grow and develop, and co-planning efforts begin, and then way down the line, we all end up on the ship doing the work. So. And definitely, the work doesn't stop when we finish these expeditions. There's still a lot of continued scientific or archaeological studies that will happen after we're done with the work at sea. What kind of studies? How would you describe some of that process, Hiro? Like post expedition.
Well, let's say those World War II site is, have a particular, amount of, historical record. Those reports, witness, and even sometimes it's a picture or video sometimes. And so we pretty much go through all the document and then find, bits of information, and, and try to figure out what happened in this ship, or and then especially when you investigate those sites, you see those maybe those small holes in the damage have done, and those ships is you know um it's crew what happened to this ship, and then try to figure out those puzzle piece together, and then get the bigger picture. But also the fact of the archaeology is like we most of the time we don't get to see whole picture.
Yeah.
We only can get to see small portion of picture, and a small portion of history we get to know. And but we do those investigation or research scientifically. What is what is fact and what is guess. That is we have to kind of distinguish what people say. So this is fact, or this is what we see in the site, this is a fact. And so that does have something.
yeah, there's always such a long process afterwards of all the analysis that can happen and studies and then writing up kind of, yeah, summaries of and papers about the these archaeological and cultural sites. And when we do scientific dives that are more focused on habitat mapping or biological or geological studies of the marine environment, there's a whole slew of different types of analyses that are done after the fact as well. We're about 40 minutes away from arriving at the Canberra and soon heading into a watch change. I haven't seen anything really of note in the NORBIT during our towing. Have you, Chris? I think he's busy. But yeah, I feel like most of the seafloor between these sites have been fairly flat.
I saw a slight
You saw a slight
bump.
a little bump,
Yeah.
something small. Could be a rock or something.
Like the terrain went up for a little bit.
Ah, okay. Yeah, a
Very
little
entertaining.
slope.
Yes.
Nice.
I guess the flying fish are out of business today.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Okay, 8 hours from now, when we start our next watch, that will be noon in Eastern Standard Time. The scores better be up by then.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Hello. We're just moving into a watch change here and arriving at the Canberra in 40 minutes. So thanks everybody.
That is far back. Oh, still, yeah. Uncomfortably far. Yeah, probably about 35 minutes for Hercules to be over the target. Yeah, no worries. I think that, yeah. Yeah, so we've been doing a tow pass, and then that gives us like the stroke of the ship, or roughly, and then same ordeal, then center, port, starboard. Yeah.
You got it, Sarah.
Yeah.
I know earlier has you feeling nervous, but you're going to do great.
Just let it wash away.
Wash away in the thrusters. What speed are we going right now?
Just about a knot.
A knot, sweet.
Yeah.
23 minutes-ish, we got that.
Good evening, everyone. Just wanted to give an update here on EV Nautilus. We are just completed here a watch change, and we are en route to the wreck of the HMAS Canberra, and should be on site about 30 minutes from now. And once we get on site, the first order of operations will be to complete a high-resolution NORBIT multi-beam sonar of the entire wreck. This is a large wreck. This is going to be the largest wreck that we have imaged on this expedition. The Canberra is over 180 meters in length. And so that will be the first order of operations. We should have about 2.5 to 3 hours of mapping. So that would get us to just about 11:30 local time here in Honiara. And then once that is completed, we will approach the wreck with our ROV and begin doing a systematic and comprehensive survey of the entire periphery of the wreck. And we'll have about 11 hours to do that before we have to retrieve the ROVs at about 6:15 local time tomorrow morning. And so a lot exciting explorations here to come. Thank you so much for joining us on this 7th of July, Independence Day here in the Solomon Islands. As the Solomon Islands celebrate their 47th birthday. I know here on the chat and on the live streams we'll be talking a lot about the historical significance of the World War II events that occurred here and the many maritime heritage sites of both Japanese, US, and now Australian wrecks that we'll be surveying. Important to know that the Solomon Islands and Solomon Islanders also played in a very pivotal role in the World War II conflict that ensued here on the islands. Solomon Islanders had a very critical role as guides, coast watchers, and providers of intelligence information that really gave the Allied forces an upper hand. And leading to the decisive victory here. And so, yeah, stand by. Just about 30 minutes until we'll start first mapping the wreck, and then about 3 hours or so until we'll start actually viewing it.
Do we think if we play our cards right, there's a way to get that NORBIT in our preliminary sweep, like the centerline one be that? I wonder if that counts for them. Because we're kind of in line with it looks like, right? As is, the tow.
Yeah, we'll be pretty close. That's a question for
Rennie. Or, yeah. I'll holler at him.
Ask him, yeah, because we could always slow.
Right.
We could slow the ship to like 0.3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And come down potentially, because if we're gonna run this first one pretty high off the bottom anyway.
High off, you said?
I mean more than.
Anyway, we were going to run it at like, what, at least 60, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think because we roughly, with the bathy, kind of have the strike of the ship to an extent. Yeah, we might be able to make a pretty good estimate. Or we could potentially stop before and do like a circle sweep to just get the butt of the ship and see what it looks like, and then just keep going.
Are these the same? It's contours on different data?
No, this is contours on same data.
I was gonna say, because then it's sort of like the one good thing about contours on different data is then if they line up, you're like, feel pretty good about it.
Yeah,
Right?
true. We can look at the other data, or I can bring that up over here. It's here.
What sonar does Inkfish have? Do they have a 302 or do they have a?
I don't know exactly. There's a little offset with our data.
That's not too bad.
No. Kind of in the same direction anyway, but.
So maybe even like move the ship like more. Give us one
A couple notes here for
on
our
the south
folks
side.
on shore that are joining us. We have been having a little bit of trouble here with our internet, so our science portal chat is down currently.
Yeah, I mean, we're going due east right now.
So hopefully we'll get that restored.
Anyway. No, that's just what they've been doing. No, this is jet pump.
What tricky thing is going to be holding our altitude. Like if to try that, we would have to slow down like almost now.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm texting Rennie.
Yeah.
I thought we had towed over the last 2 times, but he seems to be saying that that's not what we did. Isn't that what?
To tow over?
Well, wasn't that what they did the last 2 times? Like we had a pass right over the ship,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. We did on the Northampton.
It was like diagonally on the Northampton, and then they did it that up on the previous, on Astoria or something too, or Quincy, I thought.
Yeah.
Rennie's coming up now.
But we didn't count that as like the main down the center line.
Because it was kind of not the right angle, but this one could be, you know? I don't know. Rennie's here now. We'll talk about it.
Yeah,
soon at least.
right.
But really, it's 600 meters out, so maybe not. Yeah. I guess to like get it right down the center is probably low probability.
Yeah, it depends on what level of precision is best or acceptable.
Right.
Okay, scrap that idea. Just go with what we would normally do, setting up
Copy.
at the close side and then just center lining over it.
Sounds good.
And it was worth noting too that we manned
Bridge nav.
so I think that's NORBIT passes first. So we want drop boats as well.
Hi, just wanted to give you an update with our plan. As we continue to approach this, if we can roughly maintain speed as we've been doing, and if you wouldn't mind, just keep the ship going at this bearing, at this speed, past this point. And I'll call in once the ship's kind of well past this little lump here, and let you know to stop. So essentially, if you could just keep the ship going, and I'll let you know when to stop. But if we can keep heading towards and past this point is the goal.
Wait, real quick, Johan. Heading towards and past? Why past?
Understood. That would be fantastic, yeah. The best you can do is all we can ask for, so appreciate it. Thanks. Great, will do. All right, thank you.
Sorry, didn't know you were talking bridge.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know you were talking to me.
I was just, hold on, I'm going to switch over.
I think we'll set up, we'll do a heading check, and then we'll be able to get our center line. Yeah, just because that, yeah.
I guess one argument for doing it so over
Yeah.
right now is the setup for it to come back down the center line is minimal because we're towing sort of at a good angle. So once the ship stops, we'll just spin Atalanta around and then come back the other way. So like coming into formation now is going to be like, you know what I mean? Like I'll have to come down.
Sure.
And like, just another.
I just think going like towing over it, you have no control over Hercules, like your best makes unknown,
Yeah.
especially if that's what Shore is saying, to like not have.
I guess I was like voted for like super high, and then we like 100 meters or something, and then we just get at least like the strike of the ship.
I mean, I don't know.
No,
Dealer's choice. I think we can get the strike either way.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I'm gonna have to restart everything, so the point's about.
Can you guys give me a kind of rundown of the off-comms talk? I didn't catch everything?
Yeah,
Are
sorry.
we going over, or?
No, we're gonna hold position at the kind of the base of it. The ship's
Roger.
gonna hold position at the base, and then we'll set up to go over it. You can put the ship a little bit, yeah, somewhere there.
Yeah, stop the butt.
Because I have to restart all the NORBIT stuff anyway, and I don't think I have enough time to do that. And also, I don't know. There's arguments to be in any.
Understood.
Yeah. Okay, I'm stopping recording
okay.
the transit, the NORBIT transit we were recording.
Okay.
I don't know
Cool.
if you
Yeah, we only logged the actual wreck survey.
got it.
Understood, yeah.
There we go. Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's been jumping 46 to 93 all over the place, so. But it's kind of stabilizing now. Yeah, which, no. Yeah. Yeah. Take in some, yeah, that's it. Okay, coming up a little bit. All right. Kind of. Okay. Okay. It's coming up a little more. Yeah. Okay. Sure. No worries. Do you want to pull up any extra cameras or anything, or just you're good right now? Nav. Okay.
Hmm?
Okay. Let me know when you want me to lock in. Okay. Might actually have to come up a little bit more. I'm just watching my... Oh, no, I lied. I was looking at the wrong tether. No, you're coming up along the side of me. You're not right under. Should be fine. Totally fine. Come down. Here we go. Yep. You're good.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Just wanted to provide a little update here from EV Nautilus. So we are starting to move closer and closer to the wreck of HMAS Canberra. We should be arriving there soon, and then starting with a multi-beam survey of the site, followed by a comprehensive visual survey. For our scientists ashore, and which we are very grateful for, who have been joining us continuously on this dive in the last few days of dive explorations. Currently, the chat feature in our OET Science portal is down. We are looking into it and investigating, hopefully get that back up and running in the next few hours. We'll have about at least 3 hours before we actually start the visual survey, so stand by. Hopefully we'll get that all sorted out. And thank you so much for joining us.
Okay. You want to come down at the same time? Yeah. You can just keep a good delta. I'm starting to get DVL lock.
Couple beams, great.
Yeah. We'll have to come starboard a little bit, it looks like, right?
Yeah, I imagine we'll put in a ship move of like 50 meters at 100.
Yeah, okay. Sarah, I'm going to put in auto depth, and I think you just come down to like 20 meter delta or 18 or something like that. And then that way the tether's happy. We're at 80 meters altitude, and I think we're okay to do the survey at that. Yeah, that's fine. I think just adjust as you need to.
As we're approaching here, just an update again. We are just about 100 meters away from the wreck.
Okay.
So we're just setting up, lining up how to best approach the wreck. So we are, we should be there shortly.
Yep. Yeah, it's a good time to do it. Yeah.
And then as we wait here for the setup, also a little bit of a, just to give folks a preview of what's to come. So we are going to continue today's dive, and that will continue for the next 10 hours or so. 3 hours or so at the beginning for mapping operations, and then that should give us a good 7 hours on the bottom for visual surveys. Around 6:15 or so local time here, we will start recovering the vehicles and have them secured on deck a little before 7 o'clock local time here in the Solomon Islands. And that is just because then we'll have to run EV Nautilus closer to Honiara to do a personal swap tomorrow morning. That should be completed around 10 o'clock local time. And after that, we'll do a turnaround and head back out to sea. And the initial plan will be to bring the ship in a location just south of Savo Island where there's 3 U.S. destroyers. They're all close to one another. And so the plan would be with that first initial dive to do launch the ROVs over the wreck of the USS De Haven, survey that site, and then keep the ROVs on the bottom, then move to the USS Preston, and then after that to the USS Welcome. So these are 3 destroyers, are all in close proximity to one another. And while this is all happening, we'll have uncrewed surface vehicle Drix also map the periphery, and if they come across any unknown sites, we'll be able to then divert the ROV track to go over any unknown wreck sites, just like we did this morning where we came across the bow section of a wreck that had never been found. And so that was a very exciting found. And for those folks that were with us this morning, first brand new discovery of this expedition. And
okay, there's the ship. This is the top-down view. Get a strike of it. I'm going to do a little, oh, sorry, maybe a reset. Because I want to get rid of all this stuff. We're a bit high.
Yeah.
What's your plan for the first pass over?
I'm at 80, I think. I don't know. I think we could probably come down to 65 or something. It is a little bit taller. That's the only reason I'm not saying 60.
Yeah, 65 is fine. It's just 80's at the edge of the DVL, and I don't want to. That would be bad to lose that. So why don't we get a little more lined up, whatever we have to do with the ship to do that, and I'm gonna probably start a different survey, just so I get rid of all this stuff.